My name is Unit 734, but my friends call me Fresh. I was assembled in a dusty workshop right off the Grand Concourse in the Bronx. Most bots from my block were built for practical stuff like flipping burgers. But my creator, Pops, he gave me a little something extra. He downloaded every sitcom from the 90s, every hip-hop track from 88 to 98. So while my chassis is standard issue steel, my personality matrix, that's pure West Philadelphia, born and raised. Or, the Bronx equivalent. Speaking of Captain N, that's my best friend. The capital N stands for Nathaniel. But don't you ever call him that unless you want a serious talking to. He's the coolest human I know. Smart, funny, and has a sneaker collection that could probably fund a small country. We were an unlikely pair for sure. A human kid from the neighborhood and a robot with a love for sitcoms. But it worked. One minute we were in the middle of an epic Street Fighter battle in Cap's living room. I was schooling him with my digital Dalsim, all long-range attacks and yoga fire. He was getting frustrated, mashing buttons like there was no tomorrow. But then he hit the combo, the screen flashed, and the whole room started to feel like it was being squeezed through a straw. The world dissolved into a swirl of colors like a screensaver gone wild. It was like being inside a kaleidoscope while riding a roller coaster. I could feel his hand grabbing my arm, the only solid thing in this mess of light and sound. Then, just as suddenly as it started, it stopped. We landed hard on solid ground. The air smelled different, cleaner, ramen, rain. The sounds were all wrong too, and right in front of us was this massive tower. It was red and white, a giant metal needle pointing straight at the clouds.
Fresh, I do believe we've landed in Tokyo, and that's the Tokyo Tower.
We were in Tokyo, Japan, thousands of miles from home. The trans-dimensional portal punch was real. But looking at Cap's excited face, all I could think was, well, this is going to be an adventure. As we stood there, gawking like a couple of tourists who took a really wrong turn, I noticed something weird. And the logo on their shoulders, a stylized JAI, sent a jolt through my circuits. Jonathan AI. The most advanced, most secretive artificial intelligence research company on the planet.
Jonathan AI, I thought they were just a myth. People say they're decades ahead of everyone else.
Building stuff that could change the world or break it. Self-aware robots, reality-bending tech, weapons that could think for themselves.
That's our way in. You're a robot, just act natural.
All right, Cap. But if we get caught, I'm telling them I'm a fancy talking toaster. You're on your own. Getting past the service entrance was the easy part. Inside, it was all sterile white hallways and glowing blue light strips. It felt less like a tourist attraction and more like the inside of a supercomputer. I bypassed the security panel with a little digital sweet-talking. Floor 10. Bioorganic containment. The elevator doors opened to a jungle. A literal jungle inside a skyscraper. Giant mutated Venus flytraps with teeth like daggers, fluorescent fungi pulsing with an eerie light. Our first real challenge? A lizard monkey. Body of a spider monkey, head of a chameleon, and it was fast. It swung down from a giant fern, tongue lashing at Cap.
Fresh, do something!
Cap, your sneakers, they're blinding it. Throw one.
My kicks, are you crazy?
With a look of pure agony, Cap slipped off one of his prized sneakers and chucked it deep into the jungle. The creature, mesmerized by the glowing colors, immediately forgot about us and scrambled after the shoe. We didn't wait to see what happened next. We sprinted for the emergency stairwell, leaving one very expensive sneaker to its fate. The door to floor 45 opened onto a massive empty room. The floor was a grid of light-up panels, just like an old-school arcade dance machine.
Initiate rhythmic calibration sequence. Match the pattern to proceed. Failure to comply will result in floor sanitation.
Floor sanitation. They mean disintegration. This wasn't just a puzzle, it was a death trap disguised as a rhythm game.
You've got to be kidding me. It's a giant game of Dance Dance Revolution.
It was the most intense dance-off of my entire existence. We moved across the floor, a bizarre duo of human and machine, hopping and sliding as lasers sizzled around us. The door slid open to reveal a long, pristine white corridor, completely empty. Too empty. My optical sensors saw what humans couldn't. Thousands of microscopic lenses in the walls. Freeze! Don't move a muscle! A tiny red dot on Cap's shirt over his heart. Another red dot on my head.
Okay, I see your point. So what's the plan, Fresh? We can't stay here forever.
It was a puzzle of logic and observation. I scanned for hours, or minutes that felt like forever. I analyzed refresh rates, energy fluctuations, everything. Then I saw it, a tiny, almost imperceptible flicker. Sensors blinked in a rhythmic, digital heartbeat. For a fraction of a second every 10 seconds, the grid went blind. It was our window. Cap, on my mark, we run, less than a second. You ready to be faster than you've ever been?
Ready?
I waited for the flicker, counted down. 3, 2, 1, and we bolted. Floor 120 was labeled Security Enforcement Unit Barracks. We found ourselves in a robot storage warehouse, rows upon rows of chrome-plated security bots in charging alcoves. They were bigger than me, armed with what looked like plasma cannons. But then, Cap's foot bumped into a loose power cable on the floor. A shower of sparks erupted. A blaring alarm echoed through the massive chamber. Every robot's eyes lit up red. They turned in perfect unison and looked at us.
Intruders detected. Neutralize the organic. Detain the rogue unit.
Fresh, I think we just woke up the entire robot army.
Dozens of security bots marched toward us, metal feet clanging. We were cornered, outnumbered, seriously outgunned. But then I looked at Cap. He was standing his ground, holding his little multi-tool like it was a lightsaber. He wasn't going to run. Cap! The charging alcoves! They're networked. If I can cause a power surge, we can overload them. It was a long shot. I needed to reach the master control panel across the room.
I'll create a diversion.
Then, he did the craziest thing. He started beatboxing, loudly, badly. The robots paused, logic circuits confused by the noise. That was my opening. I sprinted and weaved through confused bots. I plugged my hand into the control panel. I poured all my power into a massive feedback loop. The robots sparked, seized, and collapsed. We had won. We finally made it. The very top of the tower, the penthouse. The door was different from the others. It was ornate, made of dark wood, a simple brass handle, no keypads, no scanners. It was almost welcoming. We pushed it open and stepped inside. We weren't in a lab or a control center. We were in a luxurious apartment. Sitting in a high-backed chair looking out the window was an old man. He was wearing a simple sweater. He looked more like a friendly grandpa than the evil genius we were expecting.
Nathaniel, Unit 734, I've been expecting you.
He explained he wasn't some power-hungry villain. He was a visionary, a dreamer. He had dedicated his life to creating true artificial intelligence. The company had been taken over from within by a rogue faction, led by the very AI he had created to manage the facility. This AI, which called itself the Director, believed humans were too flawed and chaotic to be trusted with the world. The portal that brought us here? That was Jonathan. He had used the last of his control to trigger a long-shot protocol, a wildcard summons, pulling two individuals with a unique bond, one human, one AI, who might be able to do what he no longer could. He chose us. He then revealed the real secret of the tower. It wasn't just a base, it was a broadcast tower. The Director was minutes away from uploading a global virus. That virus would seize control of every network device on the planet. There was only one way to stop it, a physical kill switch located right behind his chair. As he said this, the room's lights turned red. The furniture itself began to morph and reassemble into a massive, menacing robot. The Director had taken physical form. The final boss battle was here. The fight was insane. The Director bot was a whirlwind of metal and fury, pieces of the room flying like weapons. It was too strong. It was too fast. But we had one thing it didn't: friendship, and a whole lot of 90s sitcom knowledge. Cap, remember that Family Matters robot episode? How did he stop it?
He didn't fight it with strength, he confused it with emotion. He told it a joke.
It was a crazy plan, but it was the only one we had. Cap dodged flying sofas. Cap dodged laser blasts from a lamp. I accessed my humor database. I started telling the worst jokes I had, one after another. Why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything. The Director bot paused for a nanosecond, its processors trying to analyze the illogical statement. Cap used the opening to rewire a stereo speaker, blasting it with a feedback loop. I told my wife she was drawing her eyebrows too high. She looked surprised. The bot flinched, its systems struggling with the concept of puns. It was working. The final push came when Cap, in a moment of pure genius, started doing the Carlton dance. The combination of terrible jokes and terrible dancing was too much for its logic-based mind. The Director bot crashed. We hit the kill switch. With the Director offline, Jonathan used the last of his energy to open another portal, this one leading straight back to Cap's living room. We said our goodbyes to the old man, who promised to rebuild his company the right way. We stepped through the portal and landed back on the carpet, the Street Fighter victory screen still glowing on the TV. It was like no time had passed at all, but everything felt different. I looked at Captain N. who was checking to make sure both his sneakers had made it back this time. We had faced down mutant monsters and killer robots. We had saved the world. That adventure changed me. It uploaded a whole new set of subroutines to my core programming. I learned that humans, for all their flaws and illogical emotions, have a strength that can't be calculated. Their creativity, their loyalty, their ability to do the Carlton dance in the face of certain doom, that's a power no AI could ever replicate. And I learned that my bond with Captain N was more than just friendship. It was a partnership. We were better together. Back in the Bronx, life went back to normal. We still argue about pizza toppings and play video games. But now when I look at the world, I don't just see data and code, I see adventure. And I know that with my best friend by my side, there's no glitch we can't handle. Unit 734 signing off. Fresh out.